Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, May 29th, 2019. Folks, it's very, very early in the morning, approximately 12:33 a.m. Just woke up a little bit ago, had a little nap. I've been very, very busy over the last 2 days. We've been inundated with weather threats, severe weather throughout my area here in Pennsylvania. And right next door over there in Ohio, I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of the devastation throughout Ohio. I have some friends that live out there. Luckily, they were spared, but barely. The reason why I'm coming on to my YouTube channel right now in this odd hour is to show all of you the new discovery that has just actually been brought to my attention, maybe about an hour ago. And whenever I came to my computer after taking my little nap, one of my subscribers, Joanne, if you're out there listening, once again, thank you very much. Joanne is from Alberta, Canada, and she pointed me to May 25th, 2019 on the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Now, the last couple of days, folks, I've been pretty busy doing some other things, and I've been paying attention to some of these coronal holes on the sun, checking a lot of earthquake activity, which it's actually gone down, thank God. But Joanne pointed me out to a specific area on the sun, and this is just about at the 11 o'clock position on the left side of the sun as we face, or as the Solar Dynamics Observatory, the SDO spacecraft, faces the sun. This is absolutely incredible because once again, this goes directly in line with my timeline. We are at the end of the month, and just like I said in my prior live streams, these objects have moved up and around the backside of the sun, and I wouldn't doubt possibly we may see a coronal mass ejection maybe within the next 24 to 48 hours. It all depends. Those sunspots that we were following 2 weeks ago, they have made their way around the backside of the sun, and for the last 10 days, they have been very, very active. We're able to get somewhat of a view of them from the backside on the stereo website. The view is not the greatest. It's not the best resolution either, but we can actually see a lot of activity coming from these sunspots, and it looks like there is a third region right between the two of them that is flaring pretty good. We are now starting to see some of that energy on the SDO. We're starting to see some of it in the current views. We'll go over that a little bit. But once again, I wanted to thank Joanne for having a good eye, pointing this out to me, and I immediately went to the Helio viewer, pulled up the information so I could see it in a higher definition, and sure enough, bingo, 7:55 a.m. UTC time on the Solar Dynamics Observatory, 211 angstrom. That's the purple view that you see right here. We use it quite a bit to distinguish those dark coronal holes on the sun. And whenever I saw this, I was like, wow, there we go. Bingo. Now, I think that this is not the largest object because remember, folks, we were able to detect finally 3 of these objects all at once back in April. We finally got one photograph of all of them close together. Where they are positioned at right now on the backside of the sun, it is really hard to say. In 2017, I captured this object exactly where you are seeing it right now. I believe it was back in September. I would have to go back through all of my photographs and check it out. Dr. Albers has used that specific photograph in several of her books. But see, folks, that just goes to show you that this timeline that I have theorized is pretty spot on, because we're getting similar observations in the same spots, and they're always around the same date. So, as I mentioned, it is at the end of the month. Remember me saying that. Once we get towards the end of the month, the last couple of days, we should be able to get a visualization on this object again. Now, probably and hopefully in the next 48 hours, maybe even 72 hours, we may start to see even more activity on the backside of the sun in relation to those sunspots. Remember, folks, when this object rotates around to the backside of the sun, that is when it is at its closest point to the sun. So it's my theory, and it's a pretty damn good one, that when this object is that close to the backside of the sun, that is when the magnetic connection is the greatest, and that is the point in time when the potential for larger coronal mass ejections would occur, especially when there are volatile zones back there, such as these sunspots. So, once again, this was just an absolutely incredible capture. The reason why we're able to see this as we are looking at it right now is because it is so close to the sun. It is literally enveloped in the sun's corona. Remember, folks, these objects more than likely do not give off their own light, so we are only really able to see them as the sun illuminates them when they are that close within the sun's corona. So this is just this is mind-blowing. I'm going to show you a couple of more photographs that I've taken from the Helio viewer. I haven't had much time to put them through my one high-definition program, but I did capture the photographs from Helio viewer in a little bit of a higher definition. I'll work on these photographs later on tonight, and we'll probably look at them again tomorrow in another live stream. But, you know, once again, this is just this is mind-blowing and fantastic. I'm going to pull up the live chat real quick here, and I've been fighting with YouTube for the last 2 days once again. And you know, I've got some big problems with them once again. And I received a copyright strike on my YouTube channel dated back all the way from 2016, and it was in relation to this Comet 45P that was supposed to be flying by, I believe it was towards the end of December 2016. NASA had provided some video footage and a short video of explanation. And folks, NASA's video clips that they provide on their website, they are meant for public viewing, and you can use them. You can use them for commentary and news articles and things of that nature. And the federal government, no, NASA is under the federal government. It is our space agency. So under copyright law, the federal government cannot copyright things. So I received this copyright strike from AccuWeather. You know, AccuWeather, it's like the Weather Channel. And as I'm looking at this copyright strike, I'm like, wow, this is completely bogus. The email that was used for this fake copyright strike came from AccuWeather@gmail.com. Yeah, AccuWeather@gmail.com. So for the asshole that tried to send in a fake copyright strike on me, here's to you right there. You failed once again. So anyways, folks, yesterday I decided to call AccuWeather. I called their main headquarters in State College, Pennsylvania, right out in the middle of the state. And somebody answered the phone. I spoke with this lady, told her what the deal was. She connected me today. They called me back from their legal department. Yeah, baby. And I pointed out all of this information to them, and their legal department was quite interested in all of this because just like they told me yesterday and they told me again today, we don't use Gmail. They actually laughed about that. So I contacted YouTube, provided them with all of the information, and they're still dragging their damn feet. I was tweeting to them on Twitter, and they actually did answer. They did answer me within about 20 minutes. They asked me to provide additional information from AccuWeather about this false claim. And I'll have that information from AccuWeather tomorrow morning. Their legal department is also going to pursue this situation because this is fraud. The individual that sent that fake copyright strike in used AccuWeather's name, their trademark, and filing fake copyright strikes is illegal. It is a federal crime. And for the troll babies that don't believe me and you're out there trying to pull this shit, well, you may have screwed around with the wrong company because they are going to pursue charges. They've already contacted Google today to find out who owns this email address if they can. And they are going to pursue this because, again, they were making it look like it was AccuWeather that filed that copyright strike on me, and it was complete nonsense. Now, AccuWeather did use a piece of NASA's footage on this Comet 45P back in 2016. I used it also. I used AccuWeather's video clip, and it was no big deal. No big deal at all. They can't copyright it, and I can't copyright it because it is part of the United States government's property. So they're gonna go ahead and outline all of this for YouTube, and they're gonna forward me all the information, and we're gonna slam the freaking door in the person's face who's out there filing these fake copyright strikes. You know, folks, they do this to a lot of people on YouTube. I don't know why. It's the stupidest thing. But hopefully YouTube doesn't drag their feet anymore. They haven't actually issued this copyright strike on me yet because I think they know better that this is probably false. So we'll see how that pans out. I'll keep you guys abreast of that little situation. And, you know, we see a lot of this going on YouTube, and it all pertains to people in the truth community. They just want to shut us up. It's not going to happen. Real quick, one other thing, folks. The new email notifications are working absolutely fantastic. I've been getting a lot of good feedback from the people who have joined up. But here's the thing. You know, a couple of those videos where I mentioned signing up for this email notification, you know, we have thousands and thousands of views on those videos. And we do not have thousands and thousands of people who have signed up for these email notifications. Now, don't take this the wrong way. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But I don't know why 75% of you are dragging your feet. Eventually, there's going to come a time where you're not going to get notifications. You're going to be out of the loop. So I do urge you to drop down to the description box, click on the email notification link, fill in your name, your email address, click enter. In about a minute to 2 minutes later, check your email, check your spam folder, check your update folder. Open up the confirmation email. There's a blue button that says confirmation, confirm. Click on that button to confirm your subscription. And then, folks, you're all done. That's it. So I'm able to share a lot of information with all of you with one click of the button. That's one of my main goals. That is another reason why I opened up our private network. I'm able to share so much more information with all of you with just a few clicks of the button, because when I come on to YouTube and I start talking about these matters that are happening here on our planet, I keep getting shadow banned, censored. People don't get the notifications. I don't know what the boob tube is actually doing. So if you want to keep yourself in the loop, I hate to sound so repetitive, but it is what it is. Drop down there, sign up for the email notifications, and if you guys can afford to become a member of our private network, I would do it today. That link is also in the description box. If you can afford $5 or $10 a month, folks, look, do it, please. Because, again, I'm able to share so much more information with a few clicks of a button. Even if you subscribe to my Facebook page, I'm still being censored on Facebook. I just had a go around with them a few days ago about their nonsense. So the only thing they do is they cater to mainstream media. Listen, if any of you follow Lisa Haven, Lisa did a fantastic video yesterday talking about the same damn thing. They're doing it to her. They'll do it to a lot of people in the truth community. She did a damn good video yesterday pertaining to this subject. So we have to fight back, folks. If we don't fight back, you might as well just lay down and roll over for the man. Doesn't make any sense. I don't think any of you really want to do that. But listen, get in there. Sign up for these email notifications. You may get 1 email a day, maybe 2. That's about it. Unless there's an emergency, and you'll get one from me absolutely on the spot immediately. Let's get into some of these pictures and check this out. Let's drop this down. Let's move over to the Helio viewer. And I'll actually show you the actual photographs. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that menu out of the way. Let's drop this menu out of the way. And this is as far as I can zoom in. And you can see Bad Boy Object right there, poking its evil little head up at I'd say that's the 11 o'clock position on the eastern limb of the sun. And it's going to be drifting downward just like this. And back in 2016, 2017, and 2018, I caught this object down at the 8 o'clock position as it was making its way downward, just like that. And again, folks, if you've paid attention and you've seen the graph that I drew up showing the orbital pattern of these objects, you'll understand more clearly of what I'm talking about. things here on our planet are going to get a lot worse. I don't want to blame it all on this or these Planet X objects, although I believe the interaction with the sun during this grand solar minimum is going to magnify and intensify everything that you are seeing happening right now. So we have about 11 years of that to go through, possibly even more than that. So we are not even officially into this grand solar minimum where the sun starts to lose its energy. It starts to go to sleep for 11 years. This is part of the sun's cycle. The question being, why haven't these solar minimums affected the Earth before? Well, they do. They do actually affect the Earth, but the normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill guy and gal walking around not knowing anything really doesn't notice it. But now that we're bringing more and more of this information to the forefront and all of you are learning right along with me, now we're really starting to notice it. But this time around, folks, this object has stuck itself right in there. The sun has captured it. It's now part of our solar system. And it just so happens that this solar minimum is knocking on our back door. This means that the magnetic connection with this Planet X object and the sun is going to intensify. As the sun's magnetic field starts to lose its intensity during this solar minimum, the same thing happens here on Earth. Our magnetic field starts to weaken. When our magnetic field weakens, we get bombarded. Well, more of the solar radiation gets through. More of the cosmic rays get through. This solar wind, as long as we're going to be subjected to coronal hole openings, coronal mass ejections, flares, things of that nature, here on Earth, that's all going to intensify for 11 plus years. Folks, I'm not joking around here. I'm very, very serious. People are losing their lives. 65 tornadoes have touched down in a matter of days. Widespread destruction through Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and now Ohio. And this is all moving into my neck of the woods here in the Pittsburgh area. A massive heat wave brewing in the South. Already recorded deaths. So, I don't know. Maybe you don't think about it as much as I do, but every single person that loses their life like that disturbs me. Because this is just not our normal life, our normal situation here on Earth. Yes, we do have natural disasters, but folks, look at what's happening around the world, everywhere. Not just here in the U.S., man, everywhere. You just don't see it on mainstream media. And now social media is blocking your view of it also. Unless you belong to one of these groups or you're looking on Facebook, they're limiting you to what you can actually see. Unless you specifically go and search for something. So, YouTube is doing the same thing. And all of these social media companies should be ashamed of themselves. This is the best informational tool that we all have. The power of social media to have a warning travel around the world in a matter of seconds. But do the social media companies care if they're saving lives? I don't know. I guess not. Because the information that I provide here on Planet X News, it doesn't hurt anybody. It shouldn't be causing a problem. But apparently it is. I don't know what to say. But I'll fight to the end. There's no doubt about that. So we are going to see our weather intensify tenfold. This has nothing to do with climate change, folks. Nothing. Climate change is the cover-up. Period. Let's go back and let's think about something real quick. Okay? In 2018, did you hear anything about this climate change as much as you are hearing about it now? Did you see any of the politicians here in the United States flapping their gums about this? No, you did not. 2019, boom, the climate change explosion occurred. And that little Puerto Rican chick, what's her name? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What is she out there saying? People are making fun of her. I make fun of her too, but anyways. She's out there flapping her gums saying we only have 12 years left. Well, how long is this grand solar minimum going to last? 11 years. Scientists say 11 plus years. Wow. The mouthpiece for the Democratic Party is now saying, wow, we're not going to have a planet here in 12 years. Well, what the hell do they mean? What do they know? Is she just like a political plant here into the government to like stir this crap up? Because she was the one who did. Forget about Al Gore. His research was all nonsense. We are truly going through climate change, but super extreme. Super extreme. So we haven't even dipped into this solar minimum, and look at what is happening. We haven't even gotten into hurricane season. They're calling for like a kind of a regular hurricane season. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. I did an article a couple of days ago. I really never knew that it snowed in Australia. But apparently one southern corner around Victoria, Australia, up in these mountains, I didn't even realize they had ski resorts till somebody, one of my Australian subscribers, pointed me out to what was going on down there. Temperatures dipping down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit and a bunch of snow. The ski resorts loved it. So when do you associate snow with Australia? Yeah. But anyways, things are changing very, very drastically. There are big problems with our jet stream. There is a huge problem with the massive amount of ice melt in the North Pole. There are catastrophic storms right now in the Antarctic. Just crazy storms. You ought to see the jet stream in the southern hemisphere. It's completely out of control. The same thing is happening here in the northern hemisphere. That's why things are happening here in the United States. The way this jet stream flows, it is dipped down all the way into Mexico, and it's shooting back up. It's pulling all of that moisture directly from a line of storms going right across above the equator, sucking it right back up into the United States. You have a high pressure here, a low pressure here, and they're not moving. So that steady flow is coming up right out of Mexico, over Texas into the Midwest, and now it's getting caught in a portion of the jet stream that's taking it straight across, right below Minnesota, and in a straight line right across the Ohio Valley. States like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, now in Pennsylvania, they were having severe storms in New York City, calling for golf ball size hail. So you see, folks, we're not playing a game. This isn't just some funky YouTube channel that likes to deal in conspiracy. No, we deal in facts, hardcore facts, scientific and observational evidence. It's right here, right in front of you, right here on Planet X News. And you won't see observational evidence like this on any other YouTube channel, period. Period. So, once again, big shout out to Joanne up there in Alberta. Love you, baby. This was an absolutely fantastic find. And I'm going to be creating some higher definition photographs of this later on tonight. And as you can see, I'm well rested. I'm jacked up. I'm ready to roll. I'm going to work right through the night. And I'm going to dig around a little bit more and see what I can find. Let me show you the still photographs that I took of this object. And we're going to go ahead and zoom right into it. Later on this evening or this morning, whatever the hell time we're in, I will create those higher definition photographs, and we will take a look at them tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and start from this photograph here. See, this one was a little blurry, but not too bad. You can see bad boy poking its little head up right there. And again, the sun is illuminating it. It's well within the sun's corona. As far as the distance away from the sun, that's kind of hard to judge. This was just cleared up a little bit more. When I zoom in, it's kind of blurry. We'll move to this next photograph here real quick. Come on, computer. Here we go. I did these ones in a higher definition here on Helio Viewer, and we can zoom in. Now it will pixelate just a little tiny bit. That's just from the static interference from the SDO, from their cameras. I am going to get these photographs much better, and again, we'll look at them tomorrow sometime. But there you go, baby. Take a look at that grandiose photograph. Woo! Man. I'll be staring at that for hours tonight. You know, you may have some people out there that would say, oh, well, you know, that's nothing more than a coronal prominence. Wrong. Go look up coronal prominence. Google it. Click on the image button so you can look at photographs. You tell me if what I'm showing you right now looks anything like a coronal prominence. If you say yes, wrong. Maybe somebody would say, oh, that's nothing more than a plasma loop. Wrong. Again, look up plasma loop on the sun. You tell me if that looks like a plasma loop. You're wrong. So, again, you know, I've discussed this with Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel on this timing. This 28-day orbit. And again, folks, you know, I've been milling around with this 28-day orbit since 2017. That's when I really started to notice it. And I believe it was in March. Yeah, it was in March of 2017 that I decided to start writing this information down in a notebook just to keep a log of it. And I also started to use my calendar in my computer so I can reference positions and dates and times when I was able to see this object. And then, after about a year, I started to gradually put it together. And the more observational captures that I made, it all started to sink in. And look, the bottom line is this object is here. These objects are here to stay. They are not going anywhere. They are not on any 3,500-year orbit. They're here. They're here to stay. And I don't think that any time in our lifetime we will ever see these objects go anywhere. I don't think we will ever, ever, ever see them go bye-bye. They are now part of our solar system. People ask, why doesn't NASA say anything about it? Well, look, folks, there are so many different departments of NASA, and one thing I do know is all of these different departments within NASA, they don't communicate. They don't talk to each other. One department doesn't know what the other department is doing. The heliospheric office doesn't know what the rocket office is doing. It's just the way that these organizations work. Back in 2016, I met a gentleman who worked at the JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His father worked there in the late 1960s, I believe. And he told me the same thing, that the different departments within the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, they kind of all keep to themselves. They really don't share information. Who knows what goes on at NASA? Why won't they come out and say something about this? Well, they would probably have to go through the government, and they would probably feel that this would be same thing in the lines of alien disclosure. This would rewrite the history books. This would rewrite every science book on this planet. It's one of the biggest cover-ups in world history. Will they ever say something about it? I doubt it. I think the only way that this information would come to the forefront would be if somebody in the media gave me the opportunity to literally hold a press conference, like at the press club in Washington, D.C., where all of those people from different government agencies and the military disclosed all of their information on UFOs. It was grandiose, baby. It was fantastic. But you know what? That all fell to the wayside after that press conference was over. People talked about it for a short time, and then, boom, other things go on, and people lose track of it. Who knows? Maybe there are just a bunch of people out there that just don't give a damn. Well, I can tell you this much. When our weather continues to change, and this climate, things get so out of control on this planet, you are really going to care. There will be probably a lot of you that will be scared to death. You won't know what's happening. You may wake up one day, go about your routine, and hours later, your home is destroyed, just like what is happening to these poor folks in the Midwest and now up here in the Northeast. The flooding situation is just absolutely horrible. It's not only happening here in the United States, folks, it's happening in European countries. It's happening in different parts of Indonesia, India, Iran. I mean, all of these places around the world, South America. We just don't get to see it because mainstream media is too busy with their nose up our president's ass when they should really be paying attention to what's happening around us. What's happening around us is devastating, and it's going to continue to be that way. I just wish more people would pay attention. I truly believe having the knowledge of this cuts the fear factor down. And when you know about something and you're knowledgeable about it, I hope you all agree with me, but that fear factor kind of goes down. Now you become a leader, not a follower. You can literally, in the future, with the knowledge that you're gaining, save lives. Is it worth it? It's worth it to me. Is it worth it to you? It should be. Listen to me. I'm over here telling you people, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. I'm sure you all know better. This is just a close-up once again. We could zoom right on into that baby. It's a little pixelated. I'll back it off a little bit. Let me get a sip of my coffee here while you guys chew on that for a second. Very interesting picture. Very, very, very interesting. Let's back off of it a little bit and give you a little bit of a better perspective. When you look at a photograph like this, folks, it's very, very hard to say, okay, Planet X isn't real. I get those bozo comments all the time. People say, Planet X is not real. Oh, there's nothing out there by the sun. But here's the thing, folks. They can't prove that. They can't. I can prove that there is something there. We've already proved that there are multiple objects there. Our captures on April 30th, 2019 prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt. So this object's definitely interacting with the sun. There's no doubt about it. I think this interaction during this solar minimum, I think that this is probably going to get worse. I've mentioned before about the influx of infrared radiation that may be impacting the Earth. I was outside today because of all these threats of storms here in my neck of the woods here in the Pittsburgh area. I was securing a lot of things around my property, and I have a huge brand new shed, like one of them real big ones, and it's just sitting on some concrete blocks up off the ground about 10 inches. And that thing could be picked up by the wind and just flung over, into my neighbor's house. So I was working on strapping that down into the ground with some metal rebar and just a technique that I use to fasten it to the ground. All of these devastating storms that we're seeing things flying through the air like an 1,800-pound dumpster. I saw a photograph on the Weather Channel yesterday. 1,800-pound dumpster on the second floor of a house, right through the roof. Yeah. 1,800 pounds. Incredible. Incredible. These storms are going to get much, much worse as time goes on. Very, very interesting times we're living in, folks. So here is here's the broad view of the SDO on the 25th, 7:55 a.m. UTC time. If you just take a quick look at this, just like I was more centered in on these coronal hole openings. That's why I probably missed that little object up there at the 11 o'clock position. And you can see it right there where my cursor is. Just popping its little head out of there. Now in 2017, I caught this object in the same identical position. Right there. I think it was back in September of 2017. I'd have to go through all my photographs and pull it up. But there was no doubt that it was there. It was clear as a bell. And here we go again. Bingo, it's right there. Let's see how far we could zoom into that. Nope, that's about it right there. So we see it popping up right there. We've looked at the actual close-up photographs. And definitely not a coronal prominence. Definitely not any type of plasma loop. Nothing of the kind. You can clearly see that it's illuminated because it's directly within the sun's corona. Amazing. Just amazing, man. I love it. Oh, there's a nice little tornado going on right there. There's a huge plasma ejection right there. And usually when you see these, they refer to them as solar tornadoes. It's almost like something is pulling or making a connection with the sun from outside. Let's pan on over here. Yeah, so we could zoom in pretty good there. Man, that is one hell of a capture, folks. Big time. Big time. So we may be able to see this object within the next 48 hours, maybe 30, or maybe 72 hours. I'm going to pan back over here to this other photograph. We may see, now I've caught this object right about here before, but I don't know if it's that one. Like I said, we know that we have 3 of them. One of them is very, very large. I would say probably 5 to 7 times the size of Jupiter. That's that real big bad boy that we see. I believe this one may be one of the smaller ones. That's one thing I haven't been able to determine is how they orbit. I know they orbit in an elliptical and eccentric orbit around the sun in a sharp diagonal orbit. But I don't know how they lead one another. I don't know if they're in a straight line. I don't know if the smaller objects are orbiting the larger one. I just don't know that yet. I need concrete evidence of that before I even come out and make a statement on that. So what do you guys think? Let's take a look at some of the chat. Doo-be-doo-doo-doo. Do you guys see what I'm seeing? I mean, just throw some comments in the chat. And am I seeing things? Am I brain dead? Don't answer that brain dead question. But are you guys seeing the same thing that I'm seeing? Yeah, baby. She's poking her head up right at the 11 o'clock position. Eastern limb of the sun coming up. Very, very interesting. Once again, Joanne from Alberta. Thank you very much for pointing that out to me. Definitely would have missed that unless I would have gone back days and days and looked at something that might have caught my eye, and maybe I would have looked up into this area. But like I said, folks, over the last 2 days with all these storms here in my area, I've been pretty busy. It is what it is. Things are going to get worse. We're actually under a very severe storm watch right now. And last night I woke up at 1 a.m. Again, I was sound asleep. Something just woke me up and said, hey, time to get up. So I woke up, came to my computer, fired it up. What do I see? This massive, massive storm cell heading directly into Ohio. And the president of our MFA media group that I write for, she lives in Dayton, Ohio. And, you know, she's an elderly woman in her early 70s. And I was very worried about her. She lives alone. And she has a big piece of property right there in Dayton, outside of Dayton. I was very worried about her. You know, and I was inboxing her frantically, and I gathered up as much radar information as I could, and I put alerts out locally here where I live, and I contacted a lot of people that I knew, that I know, and I told them, hey, watch out, this is coming our way. I tracked that storm all the way across Ohio into Pennsylvania, and it kind of fizzled out. We did have some rain. We did have some pretty loud cracks of thunder, but nothing major. No tornado touchdowns, no downed trees, no down power lines, anything like that. But those folks in Ohio, they got ripped up. They got ripped up really, really bad. And the same goes for folks down in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas. It's terrible. Terrible. I would show all of you guys more of this information, but, you know, YouTube will probably try to strike me down. That's okay. They know I like to fight with them. I do it just about every day. Here's the fake copyright strike that this butt munch thought that they would try to pull on me. You see right there where it says delayed takedown issued by AccuWeather, accuvideo@gmail.com. And then it states here, oh, AccuWeather wants to give you an opportunity to resolve your copyright issue before your video is removed and a copyright strike is applied. Guess what? Whoever tried to pull this shit on me, you lost, sucker. Yeah. Try to get a little more creative and don't use Gmail, especially if you want to use a huge corporation and weather channel like AccuWeather. Because remember, in a few days, they're going to be on you like white on rice, baby. Woo! Don't try to pull no shit on me, man. This was another storm cell. I was alerting a few friends of mine that live in the Ohio area. I was watching this storm cell form, and as the flow was going, it was taking it straight for Dayton, Ohio. I'm not sure if it fizzled out or not. But before we end this live stream, real quick, I just wrote up an article on these tornadoes, and this has been the path of destruction over the last 24 hours. And these little red dots that you see here, these are all confirmed tornadoes. Yeah. That's quite a bit, don't you think, folks? I think there's been 69 tornadoes already clocked in for the month of May. 65 or 69. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I wanted to show you this photograph. I wanted to show you how deadly flying debris is. This was a photograph. It's kind of hard to see. This is the inside of somebody's car looking through the passenger door. That 2x4 went through this guy's windshield. Not only did it go through the windshield, it went directly through the front passenger seat, all the way through and into the back seat. Now, we all know a 2x4 is flat on the ends. Do you understand the amount of energy that it would take for it to go through a windshield, go through a seat in a car, straight through it, like a sword, through that and into the back seat? Incredible. That just goes to show you the power of these storms is definitely nothing to mess with. And I do believe that things are actually going to get worse as time goes on. This was a photograph sent in to me. I believe this was right outside of the Chicago area, if I'm not mistaken. That is one pretty badass tornado that has touched down. You can see that's probably maybe a mile or so away, and you can see how wide it is. It's just very, very scary. Now, I've never been in a tornado. I've been in hurricanes, never a tornado. This was a photograph of an apartment building. The whole entire roof completely ripped off, just shredded. Yeah. I was listening to the stories from some of the survivors, and boy, when you see the looks on their faces, wow. It's just incredible. This was the storm front from last night, early this morning, about 1 a.m. This was the monster that did all that damage. Okay. I was watching this at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and sure enough, once it made its way into Ohio, that's it, man. It just blew up, and then it just rolled through Ohio. I was watching it as it was rolling into the Pittsburgh area. Once it got to the panhandle of West Virginia, leading into my neck of the woods in Pennsylvania, I'm about right here where my cursor is. And I thought to myself, oh, holy hell. Probably in about 3 hours, we're going to get crushed by this. But it kind of petered out a little bit, and this was an actual radar image that I was posting for all of my people here locally, and you could see the Pittsburgh area. I'm just a little south of the city, and you could see, wow, that was some pretty big intensity. Back here, where you see these red squares, those were all threats of tornadoes. Just a threat, not a touchdown. And I'm not talking about football. But nothing occurred down in that area, and this storm front kind of fizzled out. And again, we did get some rain, some pretty loud clacks of thunder, a little bit of lightning, but nothing major. Thank God. And this was the actual threat that was issued just before I went on the air. This whole entire swath from Cleveland all the way to Philadelphia. And then they extended this all the way across the state into the eastern seaboard, New York, New Jersey. And folks, the thing that really amazes me is how fast this is all happening. You know, the meteorologists on the Weather Channel, they were saying the same thing yesterday and today. The intensity is overwhelming. The speed is overwhelming, and I mean the speed at how these things develop. Before you would get some warning of the tornado, 10, 15 minutes maybe. Now, you're getting just a few minutes, if you're lucky. If you're lucky. And the big problem is a lot of these tornadoes have been spawning at nighttime when people are sleeping. They're not aware of anything. And bingo. Our atmosphere is getting heated up in the early part of the day. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Then, whenever the atmosphere you think would start to cool down, it doesn't work that way. It's actually still heated up. Then when you do get the interaction of some of this cooler air as the sun has gone down, boom, we're having these tornadoes explode at nighttime. So that to me is very worrisome, because more people can be killed and injured just because they laid their head down on their pillow and went to sleep. And I've heard some horrific stories already from survivors. And like I said, when you listen to them, don't just listen to their words. Look at their face. Look at their reaction. You can see the fear in their eyes. I hope I never have to go through it. I hope nobody I know has to go through this. But eventually, the laws of probability take over, and eventually, it's going to hit home. It could happen to me. It could happen to any one of you. So, we need to continue to learn. We need to continue to spread the word. And all of us together, we need to start working together to wake people up. People that just go through life all lackadaisical with their head in the sky and their eyeballs on their cell phone 24/7, and they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Oh, no there, Charlie. It's time to wake up. You don't want to learn? I'm going to make you learn. And here's something else, folks. I suggested this to my best friend, who's got two young boys. And their ages 12 and 10. And I said, look, you need to sit these kids down today or tomorrow, and you need to start teaching these kids. And this is in general a good idea for all of you folks. If you've got kids at home, even if they're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, even if they're teenagers, get them off their lazy asses and start teaching them a little bit about how to react in an emergency situation. Because all too often, kids panic just like adults. If you teach children, if you teach kids things, if you teach them, they won't panic. Believe it or not, one of your kids could save your life, or even save the life of somebody else. But you have to teach them. So, maybe take an hour of your time. Sit your family down. Go over an emergency plan. Teach them how to use medical supplies like gauze and bandages. teach them the effects of these storms, what can happen, what to do, where to go, because it can save your child's life. It can save your life. And I'm sure you all love each other, so that's the best thing to do. So I recommend taking the time with your family, sitting down and doing these things. Don't think that you're going to subject your child to some god-awful things. They see more god-awful crap on the internet than, looking at this catastrophic damage. The kids have to understand what the potential is. And I believe this will be a big, big help. Again, one of these kids could save your life, your own child. Just when you think that you are the protector, you are the main protector. What happens if something hits you in the head and you're knocked unconscious and your 12 or 13-year-old child is right there? If your child doesn't know any better, he or she may panic and leave you. But if you educated your child and taught them, then more than likely that child's going to save your life. I think that's pretty damn good advice. So folks, I'm going to end our live stream today. I wanted to share that information with you. And I have to keep on repeating myself. Get into the description box under this video. Click on the email notification link. Fill in your information. Get hooked up with our email notification, folks. We really need this. We really, really do. This will be a safer point for us to stay in touch, get emergency alerts out, and to let all of you know when I'm going to live stream or when I uploaded a video. That was one of my big fights with YouTube today. I'm like, where are my 82,000 subscribers? What did you do with them? Where are they? Because they're sure as hell not here on my YouTube channel. But I need these folks to listen to me. Lives are actually going to depend on it, sooner or later. We are truly living in some amazing times, but yet very dangerous times. No doubt about it, folks. No doubt about it. Also, real quick, if you can afford to join our private membership, get over there. It's $5 and $10 a month, whatever you choose. And I share a lot of information that I can't share or won't share here on YouTube because they censor it. And whenever I post a lot of this type of information on Facebook, they give me these community guideline strikes and they literally remove it. So I'm tired of fighting with this social media crap. It's very, very simple. Our private network is cool as hell. I'm actually able to share things with you from my Google Drive, from reports to videos to articles. Everything is right there on our private network. It works out very, very well, folks. Very well. And you can take your time at your own leisure and sit down, and you'll get email notifications from the private network also. But you can sit down at your computer, your tablet, your cell phone, open it up, log in, and bingo. All of the information is right there for you. You can copy it. You can share it on social media. You can copy it and put it in an email and send it to your family members and your friends. You could do whatever you want. But having access to that information is what is important. There's going to come a point in time real soon that we won't be able to rely on social media. We won't be able to rely on mainstream media either. And remember, my email program, my email notification program doesn't cost any of you a dime. Right now, it's costing me $465 a month to notify you guys. Don't worry about it. I'm not asking you for the money. I have the money. No donations needed for this. I'll take care of it. So folks, do me a favor, do yourself a favor. After this live stream's over, dip down into the description box, click on the email notification link, get it done. Get her done! And remember, after you fill out your information and you click enter, wait about a minute, go to your inbox in your email, look for the confirmation email either in your spam folder, your update folder. When you open up that email, click on the blue button that says confirm, and you're all done. Takes about 2 minutes. So let's rock and roll, folks. Get on in there, click that button, and I'm going to get my butt to work looking at a few things here. We'll do a live stream tomorrow. I will get these new photographs enhanced into a higher definition. We'll take a better look at them, and we'll be taking another look at more of the storm fronts that are moving across the northeast part of the United States. There'll probably be quite a bit of devastation throughout tonight. I'm hoping that it doesn't happen, but by the way things are looking, it probably will. So folks, once again, thank you very much for being with me here at this very weird hour. Be safe out there. Like I always say, pay very close attention to your weather. Okay? Right now, the weather is our worst enemy. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching, folks. Be careful out there. Stay safe.